Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gabe the Animator. This is Pro Tips when Building a Rig Part 8. So a lot of you might be wondering, hey Gabe, we haven't seen or heard from you in a while. You've been putting out videos every week, and now for several weeks we haven't heard anything. And that's because I've been busy teaching and also working on an animated movie, which is done now. So now I can get back into this rigging business and YouTube business. So here we go. Let's just get into it. I'm looking at this file here that I haven't seen in a while. I'm looking at all these shadows, and I'm thinking that I'm going to do without the shadows. The shadows are often done by a department called compositing, and I think that for simplicity's sake, I'm going to leave the shadows out for now. I mean, I know that the shadows are in the abs here, but I might take them out later or see what I can do about it. But okay, so now we've got this leg that is done. We've got all the deformers that we need. We've got cutters in there so we can turn that boot around. This knee is, we can move the parts around. So everything seems to be there. This muscle is going to be on its own here, so we can flex it and change it, warp it if we need to. Now Flash is really stylized, like his legs are incredibly long. It's like he's got like two knees in there. So that's a little strange, but that is the design of the animation, so we're going to go with that. This arm here, we've got all the pieces that we need, and we've got the deformers on the inside, this like little this little shine here. So that's all good and cool. I think that we can start duplicating the arms and legs. Let's do that. So I'm going to go inside here in my rig. I'm going to zoom out. Here is my arm. So now I'm going to copy this selection. So I just right click and copy that whole backdrop, copy selection. And I'm going to go elsewhere in the ether here where it's empty. I'm going to right click and go paste special. I'm going to click on link to original palettes and create new columns. Now these two things together will let us move that arm and change that arm, and it will be independent of the other arm. If you don't paste special, it will be a carbon copy of it, which means whatever changes you make on that arm, the same thing will happen to the original arm. So we don't want that. We want this arm to be its own thing. And I'm going to change the color here just so it's visually more noticeable here. And I'm going to name this arm 2. This is, so if you're new to the channel, please check out my older videos. I've documented this this rig that I am building from the very beginning. So obviously you're free to stick around and watch this video, but if you're new, I do recommend that you go back and watch from the very beginning. So okay, so now I've connected that, but I've also have to connect the composite here. Otherwise we won't be able to see the arm. Now if I do this, let's say if I plug it on the left here, it will show up on top. There's that new arm here, it's on top. But we need to move it to the other side. Now if you move it here, let's say I go to my tool properties and I flip the arm using this button here, the flip horizontal. I'm flipping the arm and I'm placing it here, and that's all fine and dandy. But as soon as I press R for reset, it will go back here to the original place. And this is what we don't want. So as I mentioned in previous videos, when you are building your rig from the very beginning, you don't want to have any keyframes. See how there's a keyframe here? That's because I moved the arm. You want to make sure that there are 0 keyframes in the entire timeline here. Okay. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go grab what's called a static transform. I'm going to grab that. drop it here, and I want to put it at the very top of the build here. So this is my arm. I'm going to hold Alt and just slide that in here. And I'm going to click on this yellow magic box, click on Bake All Incoming Transformations, and I'm going to zoom out here so we can see. Now I'm going to flip that arm using this static transformation thing. But when I flip that arm, it's going to go in the exact same spot on the screen, but on the other side of the screen, like a mirror, right? And all you have to do is come over here to the x-axis here and put a minus there. Now it won't take effect unless you click elsewhere. So I'm going to come over here and click, and there's the arm. It's in the exact same spot on the screen, but on the other side of the screen. So now I'm on the x-axis up here. I'm going to come up here to this little gizmo, and I'm just clicking and holding down and sliding down. And as you can see, that arm is moving. So the numbers are changing here. And I'm going to zoom in so I can be more accurate. And I'm going to keep just moving that until the arm is in the right spot. And there we go. It's not exactly in the right spot, so I mean you can be more accurate by clicking on numbers here. So I just put a 7 there, and it looks like it's a good fit. So that's it. Now I can close this window, and that arm is permanently in that spot. So like, let's say I move this arm, you know, wherever, and I need to reset the arm, so I can click on this backdrop and hit R for reset, and everything will go back in the proper spot. Of course, there's still a keyframe here. I'm going to get rid of that, but you'll see the arms will stay in place here. So that's good. I'm going to do the same thing with this leg here. Let's go and find that leg. Zooming out here. There's the leg. I'm going to right click here, go copy selection, and I'm going to do the same thing. You don't want to paste it when your window is kind of like this, because it's going to paste it right on top of the other nodes, and it's going to create a jumbled mess. So it's always better to go out in the ether where it's empty, right click and go paste special. Now because we have selected previously link to original palettes and create new columns, because we've selected those, they are already selected, so we don't have to do that again. Unless I close Harmony and reopen it, these two will remain like that. So I'm going to click OK. There's my other leg, and of course I wanted to be able to differentiate both of them, so I'm going to click on this yellow box, change the color here, whichever color is good, put a 2 here, close that, and I have to link that to my other peg here that I have put. So this is my original leg. We can't see this leg because it's not plugged in yet, so we gotta get the wire from the composite, come over here and plug that right there at the end. So whatever is plugged in on the right will show up on top. Whatever is plugged in on the left will show up on top. Whatever's on the right will show up in the back. So here is that leg. I'm going to go ahead and get my static transform now. Because we've already done a static transform, mainly this one here, the numbers that are in here are going to be the same numbers that we are going to need for the other leg. Like if we flip that leg, it's going to show up exactly on the other side of the screen, and then we'll have to move it here, but it's going to be the same dimensions. So what we can do is we can copy the static transform and paste it over here and just slide that in, and I'm guessing it will work. And yes, it did. See that? It worked. It's not perfect, right? We can see that, because the drawing was hand drawn, it's not like mathematically perfect. So we can go in here and just maybe put a 6 there. No, it's going to be an 8. Yeah. So that's the only one you have to mess with. Unless you're doing something very specific and you need to move it up and down or right and left, then you'll mess with the other ones. But you just need a minus here, and then you need to mess with that one, and then that's it. We'll close that. So now that looks good. However, it looks a little strange because we need to get that to bleed into that, right? And that goes back to our auto patches. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and find this thigh here, and we're going to get the auto patch right here from the thigh. Now, if you're confused, I recommend that you go and watch Pro Tips When Building a Rig Part 1 all the way up to the latest one. Okay, so I'm going to grab a wire from that. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go and try and find his hips here. And I'm still holding on to that wire, going into the torso here, abs, bolt belts, abs, core, hips. So here are the hips, and I'm just going to plug this wire in here where it says auto patch from the other limb goes here. So I'm going to plug that in here, and we can already tell that now this part is bleeding into that part. And if we pull it out, we will still see that black line there. So that is what the auto patch does. I'm also going to grab the auto patch from the hips, and I'm going to go and plug that into the thigh. That's the boot, that's the thigh right here, right in there. And that will allow us to push that behind or forward. If we bring that forward, we can get that extra line there. It's maybe I can do a demonstration with that instead. I'll have to turn off the model sheet so we can see what's going on here. But generally what you want to do is okay, yeah. So you see that line here? If I push that behind the forearm, we get that line on top, and then we get this line on top. So that's why you need to plug the auto patch both, for both the thigh into that and this into that. Let's see if that works. If I push that back or if I push that forward. Okay. Let's go and check out what's going on in the thighs. And that's my line art, and that's my overlay. So that's probably why we're not seeing it, but I guess that's okay. Let's just continue with this idea here. That's my boot, that's my thigh. Grab the auto patch. Go into the torso, into the core. Look for the hips, and that goes in here already. And grab the auto patch from the hips into the thigh auto patch. And there we go. Now you can see what happens here. So when I move that, it reveals the other line, and whatever line is in the overlay will show up on top. And you can also bring that to the front or send that to the back. So that's going to be useful. It's going to look like that. Reveals the line. Looks good. I'm going to reset that. Whoa, I lost his face. What happened there? Oh, okay, I hadn't drawn his face yet. I was scared. Yeah, I still have to build his head. Maybe we might need to push this model sheet. Yeah, we'll have to push that model sheet back in Z depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock it, put a peg on it, and turn off the animate button because we don't really need a keyframe to push it back. I'm going to go in the top view here and click on the maintain size button right up here. If you don't have those buttons, you need to right click in this gray area and choose advanced animation. So right click, advanced animation, there these buttons are. Now these buttons might be over here and you might not be able to see them, so make sure to pull on those little curtains here to reveal more tools, like so. So click on maintain size, and then we can just push this model sheet behind. This way it doesn't get in the way, and we can lock it. That looks good, and look, we're almost done. This is coming along very nicely, and I think I'm going to stop here for this video. I'm going to save that, and in the next video I'm going to build his head. Perhaps we can maybe connect that to that with the auto patch, because if we bring his arm up, it looks a little silly. So I might put the auto patch, I might connect the auto patch of the shoulder with the pectoral muscles. Let's do that and see how that works just before we sign off here. So that's the pectoral muscle. I'm going to put a little backdrop here like that so I can tell where it is, and then I'm going to go and find the shoulder here, and I'm going to put a little backdrop here. If you don't know where the backdrops are, it's in this little hamburger menu. Go down here to insert and then backdrop. I put mine on 6. 6 is the shortcut for my backdrop. So, and I'm going to put this like really funky color here so I can see it. Okay, so I'm going to grab the auto patch, and I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to look for that other tiny black backdrop, which is right here. I'm going to put that into the auto patch here, and grab that auto patch and zoom in on this little backdrop here, plug it in there. Now it's not working, and it's probably because if I go into the pectoral muscles here, we want to make sure that the color art is in the color art and the line art in the line art. But if I go into the oh yes, that is okay. Yes, this overlay should be in the line art. So let's put that in the line art. Now it will work. You can see the auto patch working here. However, now that that's happening, we can see that the highlight here is it's not being cut properly, right? So perhaps what we can do is we could put part of the line art into the overlay. So we can grab our cutter tool and just put whichever line we want on top, which is probably like that. We want that to be on top. So I'm going to cut that out, paste it in the overlay. Yeah, it's not perfect. I've got that happening there. Might have to fix that. But at least his suit looks better like that, right? And I think I might leave that like that. Maybe I'll combine this with that so I don't get that line there, right? So let's just zoom in here, put a little backdrop there, put a funky color. And I need to find this pectoral here. Oh. Put a funky color. Okay. We can do this real quick. Into the auto patch here. That into the auto patch here. And we have to go in here and put the line art into the line art. Like so. So now this bleeds into that. And when you move that around, it reveals the line. Now this is going to be a problem here. I'm going to have to find another way. Perhaps if I put this part of the line, if I cut that out and I put that in the overlay, that will do it. Now it's on top. So I think I just answered my own question here. Go into that shoulder. I'm going to take that, put that back in here in the line art, and then cut just this part here. Put that into the overlay. And then voila. Now he's looking real sharp. No keys in the timeline. There's still work to be done, but I don't want the video to be too long. Perhaps in the next video I'll build his head here, and I'll connect this with that so that it hides that line here. Alright, hey, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.